What's up, everyone? So in this video, I'm just going to be showing you guys how you can make your supply and demand more accurate. I'm just going to draw it out for you guys, and then I'll show you some real chart examples. I'm just going to go ahead and get straight to the point. So let's just jump right into the video. All right, so the first thing we're going to mention, and I'm going to make this as easy as possible if you are a beginner, supply levels equals sell. So supply, sell, demands are buys. All right, so you have supply is sell, demand is buy. So we have that right off the rip. So you guys should memorize that: supply, sell, demand, buy. I see a lot of traders, they have the biggest zones for their supply and demand levels. I'm just gonna give you guys an example right now. So let's say price is going up. And remember, the way you wanna find supply and demand is you wanna mark the previous contrary candle. So let's just go ahead and say the market was moving up like this. And let's do one where the market's going down. All right, so right here, since the market's going up, we would be looking for longs. So we would be waiting for price to pull back and hit a valid level of demand, which would be like an area with the previous contrary candle. So let's go ahead and just do this. Pretend like this is a level of demand. We'd be waiting for price to come down, tap right back into that level, and that is where we would be looking to buy from. Now notice how you're waiting for a pullback into a valid level of demand, which let's go ahead and put this real quick. How do you spot valid levels of supply and demand? You look for the previous contrary candle. So what does that mean? That means you're looking for the previous contrary candle to a big push. I'm going to show you guys just in the charts real quick, and then we'll be good to go. So let's find a really good example. So for a demand, like we were just talking about, this right here would be your previous contrary candle. This last black one right here. You know what? Just to make it easier, what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and draw an arrow right there. That is our previous contrary candle. Now the way I mark it, I don't mark it with the rectangles or anything. I use lines, but just for the video right now, I'm going to be doing the rectangle. So you're looking for the previous contrary candle to a push up, and then let's just go ahead and find one for supply real quick. You can see right here, this is that previous contrary candle to a push down. So I'm going to make this super simple. My chart colors are blue and black. So looking for a supply, you'd be looking for the previous blue candle before there is a lot of black candles. And for demand, it's opposite. You'd be looking for the previous black candle right before a big move of the blue candles. I'm making this as easy as I can, so you guys should have gotten that. Now that we have demand right there, let's go ahead and do this. So just say this is a level of supply. Let's go ahead and do this right here. What would we wait to do? We would go ahead and wait for the pullback into there, and we would go ahead and sell from there right when price taps into that level. So do you guys get it? Demand, you buy, you wait for the pullback into the previous contrary candle, which would be the demand level. Supply, you sell, you would be waiting for the pullback into the previous contrary candle, which is now the supply level, and then you would take sells from there. So where that previous contrary candle is where you're going to sell from. Now, I'm about to show you guys how to make it even more accurate. All right, so the way you're going to want to make supply and demand more accurate is you're going to want to implement more time frames. And what do I mean by that? You're going to want to go through these time frames that I have up here and find the valid levels of supply and demand. The more levels of supply and demand you can have amongst different time frames, which is what I call in confluence, the higher probability the setup is. So I'm about to show you guys an example real quick. Let's say right here, we're on the 1 hour time frame like we are. We would go ahead and put a line here. We would put it H1 because we are on the H1 time frame. Now, let's say we go to the M15 and we would see, okay, we have an M15 level of demand right here as well. So you would go here, you would go ahead and put M15. And let's say we drop one more time frame and we go to the M5 and you're like, wow, we have another previous contrary candle right here on the M5 time frame that's close to the other time frames I had marked out. So right here you have 3 levels of demand in confluence with each other. So let's go ahead and put this real quick just for a note for you guys to remember. More time frames in confluence equals higher probability. So the more time frames in confluence, the higher probability. That is what you're looking for. So right here, we have 3 time frames in confluence. So we would set our limit order. We would put it as longs because remember, on demands, you're looking for buys. We would be waiting for the market to pull all the way back into here. And then our limit order is already set, so we would be in like that once it touches that level, and then we'd be going up with the market. We'd be going up with the trend. So that is that right there. Now, the importance of multiple time frames in confluence is, check this out. Let's say you had only one time frame, right? Just pretend that H1 and M15 is not there. If you have just one time frame, the market's going to come all the way down, and you're going to be expecting it for it to bounce off that M5. Well, let's just say it pushes straight through the M5. Now you have no other levels of demand in this case within your stop loss because you only had one time frame. So it's just going to push straight through it. Or let's say it comes into that M5. It actually gives us a nice little bounce. We start going up. Then it's working its way down. Now we have nothing else stopping price. So where's it going to go? Most likely to stop loss. Let's say we have the 3 time frames right here. So price is going down. We're approaching that M5 and then we tap into it. Now let's say we don't get the cleanest rejection off the M5. Now we have an H1 right here that's waiting for entry. Let's say we don't even get a clean entry off the H1. It goes all the way to the M15. Now we see the rejection off the M15. We start going up and then it goes to take profit. The higher probability comes into play because we have not 1, not 2, but 3 time frames in confluence for this example. So that's giving price 3 opportunities for it to reverse and go your way. Now remember, the more time frames in confluence, the better. So if we had 4 or 5 time frames right there, it's an even higher probability setup. But then remember, like I said, if we had just 1 time frame and we don't get that clean rejection, now price just comes down. There's nothing stopping. We're just going straight to stop loss. So in simple terms, the more levels of demand in this case and supply in the other case I'm about to show you, the more levels in confluence with each other before your stop loss gets hit, the better, the higher probability. All right, now I'm about to show you guys an example of supply. And it's literally the same thing but backwards. So let's act like this is our level of supply right here. We're on the 5-minute time frame. We see it. Okay, let's go ahead and mark it on the M5. Let's go to the M15. Would you look at that? We have an M15 in confluence with it. Let's go ahead and mark that. And we have an H1. You have an H1 right there with it. So we're just going to go ahead and put that. Now we have those 3 time frames. And keep in mind, for this example, let's actually just go ahead and use 4. Let's put the 4th one right under it. And jump back to the M15 to make this a little easier. We have 4 time frames in confluence. And then remember, like I said, I usually trade with limit orders. So I would already have a short position sitting here. So let's say market's wanting to come up. We approach price. We tap right into it. And then boom, we get that rejection down that we're looking for. So see how we had that clean rejection off the H4? That is ideally what we would want. Let's say the market's moving right up to that level and just about right here, we get a lot of momentum. Super strong. We push past the H4, push past the H1. We get to that 3rd line, which is an M5 supply. And then we get that rejection and we start going down. And then by the time you know it, you go to take profit, hopefully. So look at this. We have not 1, 2, 3, but 4 levels before our stop loss would be hit. So that's giving the market 4 opportunities for it to reverse and go your way. And see how on the 3rd level of supply we had, it came down and would have went to profit in this example right here that I'm showing you guys. Now let's say we only had 1 level. So the market's going up, gets a lot of momentum right here, just pushes past it. By the time you know it, it can go to stop loss because we have nothing else stopping price up there. Now, keep in mind, these levels could be a little more split up. So you can have an H4 right there. You can have an H1. And then you might only have 3 time frames in confluence. And your M5, let's say, might be all the way up here. So you can go ahead and do this. Let's say we get the nice rejection off there. We come down a little. Price comes back. It does not quite hit a TP1, so you're still holding. Gets a little bit of momentum. It comes all the way into that M5. and then we get the rejection. That's happened plenty of times to me. But the important part is I had this final level of supply, which saved it from going to stop loss. That's another point where it could possibly reject and save you from stop loss. So quick little recap, then I'm going to show you guys some real market examples. So the very basic: supply you sell from, demand you buy. We got that. You look for the previous contrary candle to mark your supply and demand levels. More time frames in confluence equals the higher probability. Now, I'm not saying this is a 100% win rate, but the more time frames in confluence, the more levels for it to possibly reject before it gets to your stop loss. So that's going to equal a higher probability setup. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you some examples. All right, so this is a good example of a supply level. Notice how we're on the M15 time frame. We had this previous contrary candle to this drop down. So I would have had my limit already set. So what we would do is go ahead and mark the very bottom of the wick, and we'd mark that as M15 since we're on the 15-minute time frame. We would go ahead, go to a different time frame, and notice this. Notice how this previous contrary candle to the push down, we would go ahead and mark the very bottom of it, and we would put M5 since we're on the M5 time frame. You could do this on the M1, the H1, all that type of stuff. But for this example, I'm just going to show it to you guys on these two time frames. So now I'm going to go ahead and put a sell limit and just say I put NQ 3 cons. So you could see our stop loss is right here, right above this wick. We have the M5 and M15 in confluence and probably an M1 up here, but I'm just going to use two time frames for this example. So now let's say price is going to it. We tap right into it, and notice that first wick right there. We tapped right into it, got to move down, bounced right back down, almost would have hit take profit, but look at the rejection we had off that level. And then boom, we went to take profit. Now this is a good example of you only needed one level, which is perfect, right? But let's say price would have went a little higher. You would have had this M5 as a savior before it would have hit your stop loss. So that is super perfect. Let's see if the trade would have ended up going back into that area and tap into this M5. All right, so notice this. I think it was just super short of it, but notice how we tapped right into this M5 and then came down, went to take profit again, and then it dropped a lot lower. That is a perfect example of literally what I just showed you earlier. We came, tapped into TP1. This would have went to like a TP2, TP3, so I wouldn't have held back to break even, obviously. But let's pretend that this didn't go to take profit yet. It would have came all the way back into the red, but it would have had the M5 supply as a final resort before it would have went to stop loss, and that's exactly what saved us right there. It gave us the rejection we needed and just fell all the way down there. So that's a good example of why multiple time frames in confluence is good as well. All right, so look at this. This one's going to be a little far apart, but notice how we have a previous contrary candle right here, and then just a lot of candles going to the upside, and we're on the 15-minute time frame. So we would go ahead and mark the tip of that candle, the tip of the wick, as M15, and then we're going to go ahead, go to the M5 time frame, follow this line over, see if we have a valid level of demand. And you can see right there we have a previous contrary candle, then a push up. So we're going to go ahead and mark the tip of the wick as M5. And let's go to the M1 for this example, see if we have anything. And now you want to be a lot more accurate with it. I could be like a tick or two off, but I'm just doing it for the example of the video. Now on the H1, you could see our previous contrary candle is literally right here. So we would just go ahead and mark that. And you can see this H1 is way down there. So we wouldn't even be too interested in it because it probably wouldn't do anything for us. But we're going to go ahead and mark it anyways. Now let's go to the H4. You can see this previous contrary candle right here to the move. So we would go ahead and mark the tip of the wick, which is right there, H4. Let's just put a long position here. Not even going to put the H1 in it, just say it was right here. All right, so it's going to look a little far out, but we know we have our levels at this M15, M5, and H4. Those are 3 time frames in confluence before our stop loss would be hit. Remember that. So let's just go ahead. We're in replay mode, and let's just fast forward this. You can see we're starting to go down there. Get a crazy big drop. A lot of volume here. This is around 8 p.m., so we wouldn't really be trading this time, but this is just an example. Now look how we had a lot of volume come in. We went right past that M15, M5. But look what happened. We went directly to that H4. That gave us the rejection we needed. Let's go ahead, fast forward this. And we went all the way to a 1 to 4, I think this is. Or yeah, almost a 1 to 4. So you can see that is what gave us that final rejection we needed before our stop loss would have been hit. If that H4 wouldn't have been there, it probably would have went to stop loss. You could see there's a purpose. There was an H4 demand. If that H4 demand wasn't there, it would have went to stop loss. So it rejected for a reason. So that's why it's very important to be accurate and find these levels and make sure you have multiple timeframes in confluence, which again means before your stop loss would be hit, because that is just giving you more opportunity for the trade to reverse and go your way. All right, so before I end the video, I showed you guys 2 good examples of supply and demand being in the works. And I just noticed this as I was ending the video, but let's go right here, put M5. Look how accurate that is, and we are just rejecting off of that. Let's go ahead, go to an M1. And this is on gold. I don't really trade gold too much anymore, but just look how accurate these examples are. That's an M1. That's an M5. Let's go to the M15. You have an M15 right here. So just say on those 3 time frames right there, let's go back to the M5 to make this easier. If you had your short position just like this, let's say, now look, we went past that M15, went up to that M5. That is what gave us that reversal, and we started going down from there. If we would have broke past that, we have this M1 that could have gave us the same reversal that that M5 gave us. So you could see right there, having the multiple time frames in confluence just gave us a drop from that level right there, which if we were in this trade, it would have saved us from stop loss, and now we'd be chilling in some decent profit. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That was just a few examples right there of why it's good to have multiple levels of supply and demand. If you guys liked the video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We're currently sitting at 58 subscribers, so let's just try to push and get to that 100 mark. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.